Hi and welcome to BostonTweetUp TV. My name is Joselin Mane. I am your host and this is episode number 121. We've been actually on a little summer break and this is the first episode in a long time. So we want to bring you up to speed. If this is the first time you're joining us today, what we do on the show is we cover the world of Tweetups, networking events, social media events, startup events, those types of things, so that you can connect with the right people at the right time. Most of the events that we cover are free for you to enjoy, for you to network. We have a lot of things planned on this show. The first thing we do is we cover this week of events. Then we give you a heads up on what's coming in the future so you can sign up early. On this week's episode, we're going to cover two particular things. Number one, we're really launching for the summer, or we're actually upgrading for the summer, so we're going to talk about how you can get involved. And at the end of the show, we're adding something very cool, which is the essence of a lot of frequently asked questions. We're going to go deep into a bunch of different things. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about the difference between a meetup and a tweetup. That happens to be one of the most frequently asked questions. So stay tuned for that at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's talk about what's happening this week. This week on Monday, we have Downtown Women's Club back again. It's a monthly event. Danny Norded puts this together and it's going to be at Ohm. Click the link below. All the information is there. It's always a great event over at Ohm. It's primarily for women in the startup community. However, men could also join. I've visited and it's a fantastic group of individuals. Next, on Tuesday, what we have is the Digital Media 3.0. Actually, it's Monday, excuse me. Monday from 7 to 9:30 over at Riles, frequent spot for the branding 2.0 or branding chief here in Boston, Dan Schwabel. So it's Digital Media 3.0 with Larry Weber, Harvard, CBS, and Hill Holiday. So we have Larry Weber, who is an author of the Marketing to the Social Web. We have Perry Hewitt from Harvard, one of my peeps. She is the digital communications and communication services over at Harvard, director there. Mike Prue, one of my peeps from Hill Holiday, digital strategy team, and Stephanie Miller. Many of you might know her from her work here at CBS Local. She's now in a new position, Director of Sales and Development for the Tirade Retail Media. So should be a good event. Again, click the link below. All the information is there. Next, we have on Tuesday, Social Media, Is It For Me? This is from hosted at Studio Crossings. Studio Crossings is in Waltham, Massachusetts, and this is being there's going to be a presenter, Alec Beedridzik. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but again, click the link below. All of his information is down below, and this is the first session of a series of several topics exploring marketing oneself consistently and constantly through social media. So think of one's own brand, developing your own brand, those types of things. This is one of the many series that we're going to talk about. We've already talked about the Downtown Women's Club. That's a series and things like that. Dan Trabell, the Branding 2.0, that's generally a series. So there's a series of series that goes on in the Boston area. So shout out to them. Again, click the link below for all the information about this particular event. Another pretty consistent event is being put together, and this is a regular, Dan Matson, and he's putting together the SEO meetup group. It's a monthly event. This is going to be in Arlington, Mass. This should be pretty great. Starts at 6:30 to the Robbins Library, and from 6:30 to 7, open networking, a mini elevator pitch from 7 to 7:30. Then Jesse Friedman of Sword Studios is going to talk about SEO considerations for the front end design and development. So very detailed work. So again, click the link below. All the information is down below. Also, they're looking for speakers, so if you're interested in speaking, contact him as well and be a speaker at the next event. Next should be a fantastic event. It's the Boston Food Bloggers Meetup Tweetup event over at the Lansdowne. This is also sponsored by Twisted Tea. Twisted Tea started the series last year and now they're bringing it back. And this time, this particular Tuesday, they're going to talk about well, they're going to have a bunch of food bloggers there. And give a shout out to Rachel Blumenthal, who's actually the community manager for the Boston Food Bloggers community, so shout out to her. Should be there, giving her a shout out. And you can follow all the activities using their hashtag TTTT, 4 T's there. So should be a great event. Again, click the link below, and this event is for free. Next, another SEO meetup, and this is now at Nerd in Cambridge, something local. This is being put together by Michael Bork, who's the PHP meetup organizer. He always puts together some great events. This one's on SEO, and he did this one in particular because he listened to his members, and the members asked what type of meetup they should do, and they did one on SEO. They requested it, so he delivered it, which is fantastic. It's the second most voted meetup idea that they've had. They've actually had 324 people signed up, so unbelievable the number. And actually, it's featured on the meetup.com website, which is pretty cool. So some of the things they're going to talk about is SEO, what it's all about, HTML tags, choosing the right keywords, things like that. There's actually a bonus topic of CSS sprites, and that's from 6 to 7. So if you want to miss that, you could go right into the session, which actually begins from 7:15 to 8:45. So again, click the link below. All the information is there. Next, as usual, the third Wednesday of the month, we have Mass Innovation Nights, Barbie Carlton. They have a brand new website and a new location. The new location is in Isabel Products and the Wheelhouse at the Bradford Mills in Concord, Mass. So click the link below. All the information is there. They actually just went through a website redesign, so there's a lot of things happening. So again, click the link below. All the information is there. Should be a fantastic event, and their emphasis is launching new products. So if you have a product to launch, talk to Barbie Carlton, talk to the people at the Innovation Nights, and they'll make sure that you get the proper exposure for your product launch. Next is one of the student events of the week, Student Marketing Meetup, and this is being put together by Student Universe. And the host there is Ateli and Scattelberg. I think that's his name. Again, click the link below. All the information is there. It's going to be at Sunsea. It's going to be on Thursday from 5 to 9. They're actually going to be a cash bar. However, appetizers and snacks are being courtesy of Student Universe Media, which is the host. So one of the few student events. So again, click the link below. All the information is there. Another event on Thursday, which is going to be a very, very cool event. Again, this is a person, or this is a team that puts together events regularly, so they got it down packed. This is the Ultralight Startups. And they're building a valuable online community is the theme of this particular event, and they have a bunch of panelists. Mostly what happens is there's a host here locally, and then they live stream this event that's hosted that has people from all over the world tap into it. So this is going to be at Microsoft, and this is being hosted by Ultralight Startups. The local coordinator is Chris DeLuca, one of my peeps. The founder of Ultralight Startup, Chris Laurer. And on the panel is a group of fantastic individuals. Kyle Bragger, one of the lead developers at Forest. Chris McGuire, one of the co-founders of Etsy, Postling, and Waffle. Brett Petersell, he is the community manager over at Mashable, one of my peeps. And Laurel Trolby, the founder of Media Bistro. Shout out to them. Shout out also to the gold sponsors of Amazon Web Services and Microsoft BizSparks, and also the local sponsors Mints 11s and WorkBar. Fantastic event. Click the link below. All the information is there. Lastly for the week, we have Haywire Hay House Roof Deck Party. Now this should be a Tweetup. However, they don't have it as a Tweetup. They just have it as a regular party. And I'll explain Tweetup and Meetup at the very end of the show, as I mentioned before. But this is going to be over in Cambridge. This is going to be from 5:30 to 9 on Thursday. And this is the first of a series, a theme here this week of series. Open house parties this summer in Boston, Cambridge Tech Mobile Community. So again, this should be cool. And if you're interested in being part of or hosting one of these open houses, please contact Christy at haywire.com. She'll hook you up with all the information you need. Again, click the link below. All the information is there. Next, why don't we give you a heads up on what's happening in the future. Number one, we have Dear Rocks Tweet. This is going to be over in Roxbury, Mass. A bunch of folks from the Boston Roxbury community, and enjoy some apps with your advocacy, and bring some social consciousness to social networking. So it's basically social good, social cause coming together, a bunch of people. Dear Discovery Roxbury, this is going to be over at the Haley House Bakery and Cafe in Roxbury. So again, click the link below. All the information is there. Also coming up, July 21st, we have Nashua Tweetup back in the house over in Nashua, New Hampshire. Obviously, it's going to be over O'Brien Sports Bar. Click the link below. All the information is there. Next, we also have WordCamp, one of the best conferences that we have here in Boston, July 23rd, July 24th. This is a testament to the organizers back then, which was James Coletti, who I remember one of his first events that I attended had only 3 or 4 people, and now he has a conference. And this is a testimony to him consistently putting out these types of events again and listening to the community. So shout out to John Ekman, Micho, Kurt Ang, Chris Tarangano, and Eric Hitter, and again James Coletti for putting this together. It's $40 for late registration, $30 for a student, and if you're a patron, $80. So again, shout out, and also to BU and Nerd for being a part of this event. So again, July 23rd, click the link below. All the information is there. Lastly, we're going to talk about Neil Lane is putting together a networking event, 5 tools to increase your digital engagements in a regulated environment. So again, click the link below. This is going to be July 28th, 6 p.m. and it looks like it's free, and it's over in Cambridge. So that is what's happening in the future. Now I'm going to give you a heads up of what's happening with social, with our social media presence over at the Boston TweetUp team. Number one is that we're going to be essentially rolling out these new services, rolling out some new and exciting things for you just because there is a need for it. There's not a lot of people that, or not a lot of brands that actually cover events, so we're going to talk about that. There's actually going to be a bunch of posts, blog posts that are coming out. One of the first initiatives that we're going to do is we're going to open up a logo contest for the community. So if you're interested in designing a logo for the Boston TweetUp brand, again, click the link below. All the information is there. More about that is going to happen, and more about the launch is going to be posted this week, so you know what's happening. So we want to provide as much services as possible. We have a nice team of here at Boston TweetUp that we're going to provide services to you. So now, if you have any questions or comments, info@BostonTweetUp.com. But now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the difference between a meetup and a tweetup. Stay tuned for that. Okay, special discussion on tweetups versus meetups. This has been an ongoing thing for many folks. Just to understand the clarity, tweetups, even though, as mentioned in the blog post around here, was started by, or coined by, Scott Monty, March 27th, 2007. So the actual word has been around for a while. Actually, the word's been recently added to the Oxford Dictionary, so it's actually defined, and on this page, if you're on the Boston TweetUp page, lists the Wikipedia definition as well as the original definition. And the original definition was a face-to-face meeting of bloggers that have met on Twitter. It's very light, very basic. And then as things have evolved, less people needed to be a blogger to be involved. More people just started meeting, connecting via Twitter that didn't have a blog. And then what would happen is that as time progressed, people, especially early on, before I go that, early on, people used to just tweet, hey, John, let's go meet at so-and-so pub. And you tweet it to your people, I tweet it to my people, and we all get together and meet up. Sometimes this would happen when people were traveling. They wouldn't see each other, but they would have connections via Twitter, have communications, and then go to either a conference, or they would be traveling to the city that one of the individuals lives, and then go to a venue and tweet up. At the time when this was first getting started, Twitter was relatively new, and there wasn't a lot of people on Twitter, and so sending out a tweet would generally mean that you would get a a lot of the early adopters, so you didn't have to really segregate your tweet and your tweet messaging. What ended up happening is, because of the evolution of Twitter, a hashtag was created because people needed to filter out discussions because there was so much talk or so many tweets being sent out. It was very hard to understand who was talking about what. So Twitter came up with this hashtag, which essentially is the number sign before a word and a continuous word without any spaces. So people started saying, hey, why don't we go to this bar? We'll call it a bar up. Right? And normally the initial names for Tweetups ended up with up, and they still do now. Here in Boston, we've had quite a few, pretty much one every other week, sometimes 3 or 4 in a week. So some of the names that we've had are Tron Up. We had a tweet up here to go to see the movie Tron. We've had a roof up, where people would meet at the roof deck. That was, at the time, 2 years ago, that was probably the biggest. That was the biggest of the year, put together by Sarah Marion, then a college student. Then you had Burrito, a burrito crawl, which actually became so popular here that the West Coast took the idea and ran with it, and it was because Laura Fitton promoted the event over there, and then it kind of grew, and there was a little competition, and guess who won? I'll leave that one up to you. Then there was Wing Up. Wing Up was put together by a gentleman by the name of Thomas Edwards, who goes by the name Your Wingman on Twitter, and he put together a nice little get-together. We, Boston TweetUp, host an annual event called the Mega TweetUp, and just like the name sounds, it was a very big event. So these events generally have the word up at the very end. They don't necessarily need to, but they generally describe the event in some way, form, or fashion. Alright, so this video is supposed to be nice and short to just give you a quick overview. We're going to be releasing a much more detailed discussions on various aspects of Tweetups, from organizing it, from being a host, from you know, how to prepare for a Tweetup, what the advantages are. This is part of an ongoing series, so I wanted to keep this one nice and short just to give you a sense of the differences, again, between a Meetup and between a Tweetup. So we'll go through the 3 phases now, very, very briefly. The first phase is before the event, then we're going to talk about during the event, and then after the event, and what the major differences between a Tweetup and a Meetup. So in a Tweetup in particular, before the event, because there's a hashtag, all Tweetups have a hashtag. It's very easy to talk about and discuss the event if there's a hashtag and everybody is on point with the hashtag. Now, as an organizer, this is your opportunity to brand yourself in the event. You know, pick something nice and short. You don't have to use up at the very end. It is kind of cool. It really just automatically designates it as a Tweetup, but that is not a requirement. You would then, we're going to talk about again in greater detail as to how to select hashtags, all those sorts of things in later videos. But this one again is just to give you an overview. So before that, so why do you use a hashtag before the event? Is because now when people register for the event, they actually get to communicate and promote the event prior to the event happening. So your attendees now become part of your marketing arm. So as the organizer and as the attendee, you get to find out about these events because people are talking about going to a particular event, which is generally linked to a registration page. Number 2 is almost all Tweetups have open registration, open to all, and they list who's going to the event. Now this is valuable for not only the organizer, who's always essentially had the list, but more importantly for the attendees, because they get to connect with people right before the event. So whether they follow them on, start following them on Twitter, look at their Facebook, connect with them. Again, this is a way to make networking more fun, more engaging, more interactive, and more efficient, if you will. So then you have the hashtag, you have the open registration, you have people talking about the event, and then even right before the event, like hours before the event, and sometimes minutes or whatever the case might be, the organizer can not only send an email out to let people know of any type of changes, but now they can tweet out the messaging about any last minute changes, any surprises, anything like that, to give people a sense of what to expect, where to go, all of those changes. Because again, yes, you can email people, that's the traditional way, and that's still very important. However, sometimes you're away from email. I know with smartphones it's becoming less and less of the case, but sometimes it's just much easier to get information out in smaller chunks, as opposed to writing the big email for just, hey, we're moving next door. So it becomes more efficient. So those are just some of the items. There's a lot more. Again, this is not meant to be comprehensive, or meant to be more of an overview. So the next thing is, during the event, people use the hashtag in particular for a tweet up to let others know what's happening. What did you see? Who did you meet? Some people actually use Twitter or tweets about the event with the hashtag to remember who they met. So a lot of times you would see tweets that are like, oh, glad to meet you, so-and-so, and use their Twitter name, and it becomes a place where they could go back after the event and say, oh, who did I meet at the event? Let me reconnect. Let me make sure I reconnect, connect with them, things like that. Also, for the organizer, they can monitor it and see how the vibe is, how the communication is, if they need to make any type of changes. Is it too hot in the room, too cold, those types of things. So that's instant feedback. Also, people create content, whether it be videos, photos, or just tweets about the event. People are now promoting the event. They're sending things off. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's not an event where you just see people on their phone, but actually people engage in conversations, and in transition of conversation, they would send out a tweet. And when they go into the bathroom, or when they're ordering some food or something like that, they'll get to send a tweet. Sometimes it's a group effort. Sometimes people get into a picture, pose for it, they all tweet at the same time. So there's a lot of engagement, real world engagement that happens at these events, and that's why these are so essential. Those become the essence of social. That is a social of social media. People engaging, interacting. Excuse me, the technology in and of itself sometimes gets in the way. So now, instead of just spending your life on Twitter, now you go to these events and develop a relationship. So those are just kind of like the high level components of during the event. After the event, you are now able as an organizer to actually quantify the success of the event based on how many tweets went out, how many photos went out, what is the discussion happening after the event. So you have an archive, not only for the people that were there, but also for people that weren't there, to get a sense of what's happening at the next event, or to get a sense of who they still can connect with that went to the event, even though they weren't able to. So it's a very open dialogue. So now you're able to actually quantify the success of events, and it's a public thing. So overall, this is a lot of pressure for an organizer, because they have to be on their A game, because if they do a bad job, a lot of people are going to know about it. So this kind of filters itself. It's not for the lighthearted putting tweet ups together, and that's a phenomenon that we're seeing here in Boston, is everybody's throwing the word tweet up there, and it's kind of diluting the name. So that's why I wanted to make sure I put out this video to kind of educate the organizers and the community on what the essence of a tweet up is, which is really just meeting and connecting with someone. And even though it's very social, the majority of them are social, almost all of them are social, there's still business to be done, because people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And this is where you start establishing, first you know them, then you determine if you like them, and then over time you develop the trust. So this is a way to do that. I personally attend about 2 to 3 events, so this is why I have a much keener understanding. So I have a sense of what works, what doesn't work, and we've actually cataloged here at BostonTweetUp all the critical success. So we've just basically talked about 3 phases of an event, but there's actually 5 that we've created, which is pre-planning, planning, pre-event, during event, and post-event. Those critical components, if you really focus on each one of those things at the very beginning of the event, then the end of the event, the actual post-event activities become so much smoother if you know what to do in each phase. So that is it. I wanted to keep this nice and short, but I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you see a major difference between a meetup and a tweetup? Have you participated in either? Are you interested more on tweetups? So let us know your thoughts. And that's it. Leave your comments down below. And if this wasn't clear at all, also let me know that, so we could create much more videos that would actually help you best network, not only in the Boston area, but also globally, worldwide, so that you get to connect with the right people at the right time. So my name is Joselin Mane, and I will see you at a tweet up soon.